Chapter 1. I can't wait to meet your mom. Rob looks at Crystal with that smile, the handsome one. They have been together for 8 months now, and every day is better than the previous one. Crystal doesn't know what it is about him, but he is different from all the other guys she has dated. 2 weeks ago, he popped the question, and now he has invited his mother to come meet her, his future wife.
She's going to love you, Crystal.
She smiles and leans her head on his shoulder. Orlando Airport isn't exactly a cozy place to sit and wait, but still she feels like snuggling up. He puts his arm around her. His mother's plane is delayed, it says on the screen. Only by 15 minutes, so they sit on a bench and wait. Rob is looking through his Facebook feed on his phone, while Crystal wonders what it will be like to have his mother living with them for an entire month. So, what's she like? You never talked much about her. Tell me stories, Crystal says. Rob doesn't look up from his phone. He shrugs.
She's pretty normal, I guess.
I don't believe that.
Well, I guess you could say she's very old. I am the youngest of 7 brothers. Well, you already know that. But that means she's been old for most of my life. She turned 79 last month. My brother Jack told me she has trouble walking now. She had knee surgery in January and has been walking with a cane ever since.
That's too bad, Crystal says, thinking about her own mother who was only in her mid-50s. There sure was a big difference. But then again, she already knew there would be since Rob is 10 years older than her. Rob's mother has said she might want to move here, to Florida, to be closer to her son and the possibly future grandchildren. Crystal looks up at Rob. He has asked her about it lots of times. If it bothers her that he is older, and she keeps telling him it doesn't. So what if he is older than her? And yes, if they do have kids, he will be older than most of the other daddies, but it won't matter. The kids will be fine, and so will she. That's what she told him every time. I love you, she says. He smiles and looks at her.
Same.
She knows he doesn't mean it to upset her, but she hates it when he says that instead of actually saying that he loves her. She cringes at the sound of the word. Crystal shakes it off. So, how long till she's here? She asks and looks at her watch.
Shouldn't be long now,
he says.
It says on the screen that the plane has landed. Then she just has to go through customs.
Crystal nods, not knowing much about what it is like for foreigners to get into the U.S. Rob has told her it can take anything from half an hour to 2, or maybe even 3 hours to go through customs. His mother is flying in from Romania. Crystal doesn't speak any Romanian, and Rob has told her his mother doesn't speak English, except for what little she has learned from watching American shows and movies on TV. As a flock of tourists passes them, she suddenly feels nervous about meeting this woman. How is she supposed to communicate with her? She's 79 and can hardly walk. How hard can it be to have her visit? She'll probably just sit in a chair most of the time. How bad can it be?
I see her.
Rob rises to his feet and waves his Romanian flag that he brought for her to easily find them. A wheelchair is being rolled out through the crowd and an old lady sitting in it, wearing a scarf over her hair, smiles widely and waves energetically. Crystal breathes a sigh of relief. She looks adorable.
That's my mommy,
Rob says and stands on his tiptoes, tears springing to his eyes.
I ordered a wheelchair for her, and I guess it makes it faster to go through customs.
Crystal smiles happily and waves as the old woman is being pushed closer. She can feel her heart rate is up, but the woman looks so small and sweet. She can't help but be overwhelmed by love for her right away. Aw, she's so cute, she says. Rob sheds a tear, then kisses Crystal excitedly.
I can't wait to spend the next 4 weeks with my 2 favorite women. I simply can't wait.
Chapter 2. They speak very eagerly in Romanian in the car. Crystal doesn't get a single word, but she does understand that they are very happy. It's hard to miss. Rob keeps pointing at things, then speaking to his mother with great enthusiasm. It doesn't matter that Crystal doesn't understand what they're saying. Their mutual happiness is enough to make her smile. Rob stops the car in their driveway and runs out to open the door for his mother. Crystal gets out as well. Rob hands his mom her cane. Rob then points and speaks to her in Romanian. Crystal is guessing he is telling her that this is where we live. His mother smiles again and nods very happily, then exclaims, "Beach!"
Yes, Mama, yes,
Rob says while pulling her suitcase out of the trunk.
That's the beach. We live on the beach.
Cocoa Beach! His mother exclaims, pronouncing it Cocoa. Rob nods again.
Yes, yes, Cocoa Beach.
He looks at Crystal, grinning from ear to ear. He is so happy. It's cute.
Crystal and I love the beach.
Cristal, his mother repeats. Crystal smiles, holding a hand on her chest. Yes, Crystal. Rob's mother puts a hand on her own chest. Mommy. Rob is standing behind her, nodding.
She wants you to call her Mommy.
Aw, that's the sweetest thing.
Let me show you inside,
Rob says and repeats it in Romanian. Crystal walks ahead and unlocks the door to their beach house. It's actually Rob's house. Crystal just moved in with him after they had been dating for 5 months. But she has put her personal touch on it, adding a touch to the decor along the way. Rob used to live there with his ex-wife, and the woman had great taste. But even though she has put her own fingerprint to it, Crystal is struggling to make it feel like her own home.
Here we go,
Rob says, and helps his mother inside the living room. The room has huge windows with views of the beach and ocean from everywhere you look. It's Crystal's favorite room in the house, and she can sit on the couch for hours just staring at the view. Sometimes she spots a dolphin jumping out of the waves, but that's rare. Oh! Rob's mother exclaims when she sees the view. She nods and points, then says something in Romanian that makes Rob laugh. Crystal waits for him to translate for her so she can laugh as well, but he doesn't. He just grabs his mother by the arm and says,
Come, let me show you the kitchen. Kitchen. Bucătărie.
Ah, bucătărie, she repeats, then lifts a finger in the air, addressed to Crystal. Very important. Crystal lifts both her eyebrows. She's a terrible cook. She hates to cook, and it is usually Rob who does it, or they order in. Crystal wonders if he has told his mother that she cooks, or the woman just expects it because she is a woman. She is, after all, from a very different culture. The worst part is that Rob's ex is an excellent cook. Suddenly, it makes Crystal feel inadequate. Crystal nods along and repeats, Yes, very important indeed. She walks behind her mother-in-law towards the kitchen, Rob leading the way. The old woman is walking very slowly, obviously strained by the pain in her knee. As they pass the dining room table, Crystal notices Rob's mother using the cane to lift up one corner of the rug, then look down beneath it with a dissatisfied, before she lets go of it again and walks on. In the kitchen, Crystal addresses Rob while his mother looks around, opening cabinets. Did you see her check under the rug?
What do you mean?
She totally checked to see if I had cleaned the place properly.
Rob scoffs. She did not.
I'm telling you, she did. She saw all the sand underneath it and thought the place was dirty. She even grunted, dissatisfied. Rob gives her a look.
My mom's here. She hasn't been here in 6 years. Could we just enjoy it? Please?
Crystal nods. She feels embarrassed. Of course, I'm sorry. Chapter 3. The next 2 days, they hardly see much of Rob's mother. She is hit hard by the jet lag and keeps mostly to herself in the guest bedroom, sleeping most of the day away. Every now and then, Crystal goes in there and checks on her, but she is sound asleep. She sure sleeps a lot, Crystal says to Rob when he gets home from work after the second day of having her in the house.
She's old, Crystal. Old people sleep a lot. And she's on a different time schedule than us. You know, because of the time difference and all. It's day here when it is night there. There's a 7-hour time difference. It takes time to get used to, especially when you're her age.
Of course, she says while putting the pasta in the boiling water. Yes, she is cooking. To impress her mother-in-law, she is cooking, and now the old woman isn't even there to see it. Crystal had hoped they would be able to chat a little, get to know each other while Rob was at work. But up until now, the old woman hasn't even been up for long enough for them to bond. Crystal is a little disappointed, but still hopes there will be time. She is here, after all, for 4 weeks.
Is she still asleep?
Rob asks, tasting the sauce. He smiles widely.
This ain't half bad.
Crystal pushes him lovingly, but takes the compliment.
I'll go check on her,
he says. Crystal has just put the chicken in the sauce when the doorbell rings. She rushes to open the door, thinking it is probably the bikini she ordered from Amazon. Outside the door, she finds the neighbors, a couple in their mid-60s who have bought their house as part of their retirement. They look upset. Hey, Coopers, what's going on? Crystal asks.
We need to talk to you,
the husband, Steve, says. Crystal steps aside and lets him in. Sure. Do you want something to drink? A glass of wine? Coffee? Water? Crystal asks. I'm in the middle of making dinner. Steve shakes his head. His wife holds on to his arm, seeming almost like she is afraid. That is when Crystal notices that her eyes are avoiding hers. She wrinkles her forehead. What's going on? Steve?
There was an incident last night,
he says. It seems like he is searching for the right words to say, like he is afraid of offending her or something. What kind of incident?
Someone tried to get into our house while we were asleep, he says. We woke up when someone was grabbing the door handle outside, trying to pull it open.
Crystal clasps her mouth. Oh my God, Steve, that's awful. Did you call the police? They exchange a glance.
Well, not yet.
Why not? If it were me, I'd make sure to call right away. This person might have been looking to break in. He might be looking for a place he could find cash or something to sell. They'd need to know.
Well, we didn't because we wanted to talk to you about it first.
Crystal hears steps behind her, and soon Rob is standing next to her.
Steve, Marcia, hey, what's going on?
Someone tried to get into their house last night, Crystal says, while they were asleep. Can you imagine?
Did you talk to the police?
Rob asks. Crystal shakes her head in sympathy.
No, we wanted to talk to you two first,
Steve says. Rob and Crystal look at each other, then back at them.
Us? Why? We didn't see anything last night, did we?
Rob asks. Crystal shakes her head again. Nope.
Well, because we kind of know who it was.
What do you mean you know? Crystal asks.
Well, when the someone tried to enter the door, I pulled the curtain and spotted her as she ran out of the yard.
What do you mean, her? Crystal asks. Steve looks at Rob.
Your mother. We met her yesterday, remember? You introduced her to us in the driveway. It was her.
Well, at least we're pretty sure it was, Marcia says. It looked like her, a lot.
It was her, Steve says. I saw her up close. You didn't.
He looks at Rob.
Maybe she got lost or something?
Rob wrinkles his nose, then shakes his head.
No, my mother was in her bed sleeping last night. Besides, you said she ran? My mother just had surgery on her knee. She can't even walk without her cane, let alone run.
It's true, Crystal says. She is very slow and can hardly get around the house. I don't think she would even be able to walk all the way over there. Rob has to help her just to get around. Steve changes his expression. He seems embarrassed as he nods.
Oh, well, okay then. I am kind of relieved to hear that.
Could it have been some homeless person, maybe? Crystal says. Marcia nods. That's probably what it was. There was this homeless guy a few weeks ago who slept on the beach not far from our house. It's probably just him. I told Steve, but he was so sure it was your mother. I'm sorry. Rob shakes his head.
No problem at all. We just thought maybe she sleepwalked, or maybe she had taken a stroll and lost her way and thought our house was yours,
Steve says, laughing awkwardly.
Maybe she got confused or something.
They look at each other, then prepare to leave.
Well, maybe we should...
Steve says.
Thank you for showing concern,
Rob says as he opens the front door. It is beginning to smell burnt from the kitchen. Crystal hopes they'll leave soon so she can get back to the dinner. Maybe we should go to the police then, Marcia says on her way out. She points a finger at Crystal. Make sure you lock those doors at night, you hear me? This guy might be trying all the houses around here till he finds one that is empty and unlocked. Who knows? Crystal nods. We will, don't worry.
And enjoy the rest of your mother's visit,
Steve says on the way down the stairs outside.
Oh, I will,
Rob yells after them.
I sure will.
He closes the door, then laughs.
Can you believe those guys? Thinking my mother tried to break into their house at night?
I know, Crystal says with a laugh, circling a finger at her temple. Crazy! Chapter 4. Another 2 days passes, and Crystal is beginning to feel like things are going pretty well with her future mother-in-law. Crystal, for one, is doing her part. She wants to impress her, wants her to like her, so she goes out of her way to cook for her and clean the house and put out fresh flowers on the dining room table to make the place look really nice. She even vacuums underneath the rug. Crystal feels like Rob's mother enjoys being there. She doesn't sleep as much anymore, only a nap in the middle of the day, and otherwise she just walks around, looking at things with impressed moaning, or sitting in a chair outside on the porch watching the ocean or the people on the beach. She seems to enjoy it, and, to Crystal's pleasure, she seems to enjoy her company too. They don't talk much for obvious reasons, but Crystal speaks to her anyway, and Rob's mother nods and smiles politely, her eyes narrowing in her round face, making her look cute and adorable. She tries really hard to seem like she understands, but Crystal senses she really doesn't get much. Their conversations pretty much boil down to Crystal talking about this and that, and the old woman nodding, going, "Yes, yes," and then pointing at the ocean, exclaiming happily, "Beach!" She seems to like the beach a lot. "Do you want some lunch?" Crystal asks out the open window, where Rob's mother is sitting in the shade. Crystal's preparing a sandwich for herself and wonders if Rob's mother would like one. "Mommy," Rob's mom says. It's one of the few things she has learned how to say. She insists on Crystal calling her Mommy, but Crystal still finds it strange. "Okay, Mommy," Crystal says, tasting the word and finding it odd in her mouth. "Would you like a sandwich?" She lifts up her own so she can see it. "Sandwich?" Rob's mother shakes her head. She doesn't seem to eat much except for chocolate. Crystal has noticed that a lot of their chocolate has disappeared from the big box in the pantry, but she doesn't comment on it. There is no reason to. Old ladies have a sweet tooth. It's only normal. Crystal closes the window, then finishes making her own sandwich and starts to eat it, standing by the counter. She looks at her watch and wonders if her wash is done. She decides to go check once she is done eating the sandwich. Rob is working from home today, and she walks to his office to tell him to come out for lunch. "I made you a tuna sandwich. It's on the counter in the kitchen," she says.
"I'll be right there,"
he says, smiling. He types a few words on his computer, then gets up, kisses her on the forehead, and follows her out. As they walk through the living room, there is suddenly something that strikes her. She can't put her finger on what exactly it is, but something is different, she thinks. Then turns her head to look at the fireplace. She walks closer, then picks up one of the picture frames.
"What's going on?"
Rob asks. She stares at the picture of her and Rob from their trip to the Bahamas for a very long time. Then she puts the frame down and picks another one up. Crystal can hardly breathe.
"What's wrong? Honey? You're all pale."
She grabs all the frames and sits on the couch with them. Rob sits next to her. looking at what she has in her hands.
What's the matter? What's going on? Why are you crying?
She shows him one picture, then sobs. I tried so hard. I did my best. I am not a housewife, yet I tried. I even cooked. I thought she liked me. I thought we were doing great.
What are you talking about?
Rob looks at her, his eyebrows wrinkled in deep concern. Crystal points at the picture and the missing face. She cut me out, Rob. Look. She cut me out of each and every picture I have put out. My face is gone from all of our memories. He looks at them, then shakes his head, looking like he doesn't quite believe her.
Who did this?
He asks. Well, who do you think? Your mother, Dearest, of course. Rob wrinkles his forehead.
My mother? Why on earth would she do something like that?
Well, you tell me, Crystal says. Look at them. My face is missing in every picture, every memory I have of us together. Rob looks pensive.
I don't see why she would do that. Are you absolutely sure it was her?
Who else could it be, huh? You tell me, Rob. We're the only 3 people in this house. There's only you, me, and your mother.
But come on. It's my mother. I hardly think she'd do something like this. She's usually so...
Did you do it? Crystal asks. She is getting furious now. Why won't he believe her? He shakes his head, looking annoyed. He knows where this is going.
Of course not.
She puts her hand on her chest. You think I did it? You think I would cut my own face out of all these pictures, huh? Rob scoffs.
No, of course not.
Then I rest my case. Rob nods. He sighs and rubs his eyes like he always does when he's tired.
Okay. I'll talk to her.
He gets up and leans over and kisses Crystal on the head. She watches him as he walks out of the living room, then listens as they discuss loudly in Romanian. A few minutes later, Rob returns.
She says she didn't do it.
What? She's lying! He throws out his arms, then sits next to Crystal again, putting his arm around her shoulder.
I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry, honey. I guess she liked Lisa a lot better than I thought.
Crystal sniffles. You think that's why she did it? He shrugs.
I don't know, honey. I really don't know. She says she didn't do it, so I can't very well get her to tell me why. I don't think she has anything against you. I really don't. I just think she might need some time to adjust to the whole situation. She and Lisa were pretty close. She liked her a lot. I told her to behave, and she promised she would, okay? And I'll make sure to replace all the pictures.
He looks into Crystal's eyes.
Now, give me one of those beautiful smiles that I love so much. She's only here for a month. 1 month, that's all. Okay? Let's make the best of it, She is, after all, my mother.
I don't know how I
Just let it go, honey. I know, it's not easy, but I am asking you to do this. Can you do that for me?
Crystal looks at him, looks into those gorgeous brown eyes, then nods with a sniffle. Okay, she says. I'll do my very best.
That's my girl.
Chapter 5. Crystal pretends like nothing has happened. She has decided to let it go, to forgive the old woman, even if she won't admit to having done it, for the sake of her beloved Rob, because having his mother here makes him so happy, because it's the right thing to do. The next evening, she cooks a nice steak for dinner for the 3 of them and serves baked potatoes with them, because she knows Rob's mother loves potatoes. Crystal doesn't say much during dinner. In silence, she watches Rob and his mother, while secretly looking forward to the day when she'll have him all to herself once again. After all women have to deal with a mother-in-law, right? At least yours lives across the globe. For now. Rob seems to have forgotten the whole picture ordeal already. He and his mother are chummy and chat with each other in Romanian, while Crystal feels left out. Rob says something, looks quickly at Crystal, then says something else, leaning over, almost whispering to her. His mother bursts into laughter, looking at Crystal too, then shakes her head with a very loud, "What are they talking about? Me?" Crystal decides to not care. She continues to eat her steak and sips her red wine. Well, a little more than sips it, more like gulps it down before asking Rob for more. But he doesn't hear her. He's chatting with his mother, laughing. His mother leans over, grabs her napkin, then spits on it before she removes some steak sauce from Rob's chin. Rob laughs, then turns to look at Crystal, looking like it is the most normal thing in the world. "She just spit-washed him. She just spit-washed your man." After removing the sauce, Rob's mother grabs his cheek, pulls it, and shakes it while making a weird gobbling sound. Crystal feels sick to her stomach, but it's not over yet. Seconds after she has pulled his cheek, the old woman leans forward and kisses Rob on the lips, making loud smacking sounds. What the heck? I have to kiss that mouth. Once her lips depart from Rob's, she turns to look at Crystal. Crystal tries hard not to read too much into her expression or the look in her eyes, but it sure feels like she is triumphantly saying, "You'll never get him. You're not good enough for him anyway." But, of course, Crystal could be wrong. Don't let her get to you like this. It's what she wants. She wants to come between you two. Don't let her. "So, do you want to watch a movie tonight?" Crystal says, smiling widely at Rob's mother, with a look in her eyes stating, "He was yours, but now he is mine. Two can play at that game." Rob looks perplexed at her, then shrugs. "Sure." Now it is Crystal's turn to smile triumphantly. There is no way Rob's mom will be able to watch a full-length American movie with no subtitles. This way, Crystal has him to herself. At least for tonight. "The new Star Wars is on demand. We could watch it."
Yeah, well, I mean...
He sighs, then looks at his mother.
Well, the thing is... I promised her I would help buy her an iPad, though. You know, she can't really navigate on Amazon on her own, so we'll have to wait till that's done. But I'm sure we can do it afterward.
Crystal exhales and leans back in her seat. She looks at her future mother-in-law, who sends her a victorious smile, revealing some very sharp corner teeth. Chapter 6. Of course, the old bat stays up all evening, sitting with Rob at his computer looking at iPads and iPad covers on Amazon. Crystal sits on the couch, reading her book while waiting for the old woman to go to bed. Why is she still awake? She usually goes to bed at 8:30. It's almost 10. She's doing this just to annoy me, isn't she? Well, I am not letting her. I will ignore her attempt at making my life miserable. As the clock strikes 11:30, the old woman finally decides on an iPad and a cover, and kisses her son when she gets up from the chair, helped by Rob. Crystal smiles at her and wishes her good night, then looks at the clock. Rob comes to her and sits down.
Guess it's too late for that movie, huh?
Crystal nods. Sure is. Rob leans his head on her shoulder.
I'm sorry.
She chuckles. It's okay, baby. She's your mother.
Let's go to bed.
Crystal puts her book down, kisses Rob, and gets up. They walk hand in hand to the bedroom. He grabs her and lifts her up on the bed, then undresses her. She laughs and enjoys his kisses. They make love, and Crystal forgets everything about creepy mother-in-laws and the fact they have to get up at 6:30 in the morning because Rob has an early meeting. When they're done, they brush their teeth and go to bed. Crystal is the last one in, and she turns off the light. As she does, she looks outside through the curtain. Then she screams. Rob, who has his head in his iPad, looks up.
What's going on? Why are you screaming?
There's someone out there, she says. Rob jumps out of bed and pulls the curtains aside.
Where? I don't see anyone.
Someone was there. I saw a figure. Right outside our window, Rob. Someone was looking in. Oh my God, it was creepy.
I don't see anyone now.
It's disappeared, she says. The figure went away. When I screamed, the person ran. Rob opens the door leading to the yard and walks outside. Crystal is right behind him. There, she says. The figure was standing right here, facing the window as if they were looking in. Oh my God, Rob, do you think this person was watching us having sex? Oh my God, Rob, that scares me.
I'm sure it was just someone passing by,
Rob says and walks around the corner of the house to be sure, then returns.
Maybe it was a homeless person, like the one who tried to get into Stephen Marsh's house the other day. He probably thought the house was empty. Don't worry about it, honey. He's probably harmless, just looking for shelter. I don't see anyone now. Whoever it was got the scare of a lifetime and won't be back.
Crystal swallows hard. Are you sure? He nods and grabs her hand in his.
I am positive. Now let's get back to bed. We have an early morning, remember?
Crystal whimpers, then nods. Okay. They walk back to bed and get in. Crystal lies for a very long time staring at the ceiling, eyes wide open. Chapter 7. You want a second cup for the road? Crystal looks at Rob. She is exhausted. So is he. All night she kept waking him up, thinking she saw something outside and asking him to go check.
Sure,
he says with a sigh. She hands him one, then helps him with his tie. I'm sorry for waking you up last night.
It's okay, he says. You were scared.
He kisses her on the nose. She closes her eyes. She hears a voice coming from behind, speaking a language she doesn't understand. Crystal sighs. Rob's mother isn't usually up this early. She senses it will be a very long day. Rob won't be home till late tonight. Crystal feels Rob pull away, and then he addresses his mother in Romanian. They speak in what sounds like agitated words, but Crystal doesn't know if they are. It often sounds like that when they speak. Is anything wrong? Crystal asks, not really that interested. She had planned to drink coffee in bed as soon as Rob was out the door, but now it looks like she'll have to fix breakfast for Rob's mom instead. Usually Rob's mother sleeps till at least 10, so she thought she had plenty of time. Rob shakes his head.
No, my mom needs to wash some clothes. She didn't bring much.
Now? Crystal asks.
Yes, she insists. Could you please just help her out?
He looks at his watch.
I'm late.
Crystal sighs. Sure, now go. Rob kisses her on the nose. I love you, she says as he heads out the door.
Same.
She waves without cringing, then realizes Rob's mother is standing right next to her in the doorway, also waving at her son. He blows both of them kisses and then drives away. Okay, show me what needs to be washed, Crystal says, trying to signal washing, which is harder than you think. Washed. The old woman nods and smiles eagerly, then points towards the guest room. Yes, yes. Crystal follows her inside the room. There are clothes everywhere on the floor, on the chair, and even on the desk and bed. Never has Crystal seen such a mess. Old bags of chips spread out and spilled on the carpet, soda cans, and chocolate wrappings. The old woman picks up a few articles of clothing and puts them in a pile in the middle of the floor. Crystal goes to grab a basket from her bedroom and puts in all the clothes, while Rob's mother just watches, nodding and pointing. Yes, yes. Crystal sighs and carries all the woman's clothes to the washer and starts to fill it, wondering how she can have used all these clothes in just the few days she has been there. Didn't she sleep most of the time? Did she bring dirty clothes here? Crystal shakes the thought, then puts more in from the basket, when she suddenly stops and takes out a long blue skirt. Is that blood? Crystal looks at it closer, then shakes her head in disbelief. She puts the skirt in the washer and puts detergent in. As she is about to turn it on, She changes her mind. She opens the lid and pulls out the skirt instead, thinking, this might end up coming in handy. Chapter 8. Crystal puts the skirt in her bedroom and hides it in a drawer. When Rob returns that same night, late, she doesn't mention it. They eat a late dinner, all three of them, Rob's mother slurping her soup so loudly it makes Crystal's skin crawl. Rob, on the other hand, seems happy. It has been a long but good day, he tells her while they eat.
Very productive.
Rob has started his own company that sells components to Boeing and the space program. Exactly what it is they sell, Crystal never understood. But his company is doing very well. And when it is going well, Rob is happy, and so is Crystal.
I got you a little something,
he says, and goes through his pockets. He finds a small box and hands it to her. Crystal gasps and looks at Rob's mother, clasping her mouth. Rob's mother smiles and nods, exclaiming, "Yes, yes!" Crystal opens the box. Inside is a beautiful bracelet. "Rob, it's gorgeous!" she says, and takes it out to see it in the light. "What's the occasion?"
Does a man need an occasion to spoil his fiancée?
She chuckles. "Of course not."
You like it?
"Like it? I love it." He helps her put it on. She gasps when she sees it on her wrist. The diamonds glisten in the light from the chandelier above. "Oh, Rob, it's gorgeous." She gets up, then kisses him lovingly. He looks her in the eyes.
Thanks for putting up with everything lately.
She chuckles. She knows what he means. "No problem. For you, I'll put up with anything." Crystal sits back down in her chair, not taking her eyes off the bracelet on her arm. Rob suddenly says,
"Oh, wait, that reminds me."
He searches again, then pulls out another box, a smaller one, and hands it to his mother.
"This is for you."
Crystal looks at Rob's mother, who squeals in happiness as she opens the small velvet box and pulls out a set of earrings. "What's that?" Crystal asks. Rob grins.
Look, they match. It was a set, but I thought I'd give each of you one. That way you'll be like sisters.
He is still grinning. He means it seriously. Crystal suddenly wants to throw away the bracelet, while Rob helps his mother put the earrings in. They look ridiculous on her. Way too heavy for her old ears. Too shiny. "Thank you," his mother says. "Thank you. So now you can speak English." The look on Rob's face is priceless. He is so happy, holding his mother, who is smiling from earring to earring. Crystal doesn't know what to say. She looks at the bracelet, then back at Rob, who kisses his mother on the lips. "I lova you," his mother says, pronouncing it lova.
Aw,
Rob says, looks at Crystal and says,
did you hear that? She must have picked it up while she was here. That's so sweet.
He looks his mother in the eyes, then says,
I love you too, Mama. I love you too.
Chapter 9. Once in bed, they try to have sex, but Crystal is not into it. She lets him finish his business, then rolls to the side and turns off the light. She closes her eyes, grumbling angrily something incomprehensible that Rob doesn't even hear. Finally, she dozes off, the bracelet on the table next to her. When she wakes up, it is still night out. Crystal screams.
What?
Rob yells and sits up, all confused and drowsy.
What's going on? What's happening?
Someone tried to open the door. Oh, Rob, someone pulled the handle and shook it. There's the figure, look!
Crystal jumps out of bed and runs to the window, where she pulls the curtains to the side.
There it is, running past the window. Did you see it?
Then Crystal gasps loudly.
Oh my God, Rob! It's your mother!
Rob jumps out of bed and rushes up next to her.
Mom?
She just ran past the window, Rob. I am certain it was her. She was small and bent over like your mother is.
Mama?
Rob whimpers, then springs for the door. He opens it and runs outside.
Mama? Mama?
Crystal is right behind him.
She was over there, walking past the window.
Oh my God, she must be sleepwalking,
he says.
Maybe she can't find her way back. Oh dear God, we have to help her. She could get lost. Where is she? Where did she go? I can't see her.
She must have walked around the corner,
Crystal says. They both rush around the corner of the house, but no one is there.
Where is she?
Rob asks, frustrated.
Could she have run into the neighbor's yard?
I swear I saw her run past the window. She could have run around the corner and maybe gone back inside. Let's try the door.
They rush to the back door of the house. It's unlocked. They walk inside and see that the door to the guest room is closed. Rob slams it open and rushes inside.
Mama?
There she is, lying in her bed, covers pulled up to her shoulders, her head to the side, eyes closed. Rob breathes a deep sigh of relief.
Thank God. She's still sleeping. It must have been something else you saw, or someone else.
Crystal shakes her head. Nope, it was her. I'm 100% sure. This person walked the same way she does.
But how do you suggest that is even possible?
Rob asks.
That she would be in her bed already? She isn't that fast. She can barely walk.
Well, maybe she's faster than we think. Do you think she is even sleeping? Crystal asks.
Of course I do.
Why isn't she waking up? You slammed that door pretty hard. Rob sighs.
She sleeps without her hearing aid. We could throw a bomb and she wouldn't wake up.
Who sleeps with all the lights on, then? Crystal asks while Rob walks out of the room. She follows him closely. He closes the door.
Mama likes to keep a light on in case she needs to get up and pee. Now, let's get back to bed. I'm getting tired of running around at night.
Chapter 10. The next morning, Rob's mother comes into the kitchen while they're drinking their coffee. Rob kisses her on the cheek, then speaks with her in Romanian.
Mom slept like a baby,
he says to Crystal.
Best sleep of her life, she just told me. Didn't even hear us come in.
Crystal looks at her, then sips her coffee. She doesn't want to say anything. She's too tired, even though they got to sleep in a little because it is Saturday. She just wants to go back to bed, but Rob has this idea that they're going to take his mother sightseeing and to visit Kennedy Space Center. Rob's mother is wearing the diamond earrings as she kisses Rob on the lips. Crystal wants to throw up. Rob's mother looks at Crystal's arm, then says something to her son.
You're not wearing your bracelet?
He asks. Crystal looks at her arm too. I don't want to risk losing it, she says, finishes her coffee, and gets up. Rob's mother grabs a pear from the fruit bowl and starts to cut it up with a small knife. Eating from the blade over the sink. She is slurping loudly because of the juices, and Crystal cringes. I should get dressed, she says, and rushes out of the kitchen and into the bedroom, where she sits on the floor, her back up against the wall, hiding her face in her hands. The door soon opens and Rob comes in.
Hey, what's going on here?
Nothing. I'm just tired, Rob, is all.
No, something else is going on here. You don't want to wear the bracelet. You rush out of the kitchen as soon as my mother enters?
Crystal closes her eyes. It's just... He places his hands on his hips.
You still think it was her, don't you? You still think it was my mother you saw last night and the night before that?
Well, is it that odd? I mean, the figure wasn't much bigger than a big child and was bent forward like she is.
But why? Why do you insist on it being my mother? You know there are sometimes homeless people sleeping on the beach. It could be one of them. There is no way my mother could have gotten back to bed so fast. She just had surgery on her knee, for crying out loud.
I'm sorry, honey, but I simply just don't believe that she is that innocent, Crystal says as she gets up and walks to the drawer. She pulls out the skirt and hands it to Rob.
I found this when I was doing her wash.
What is this?
Rob holds a skirt up.
It's your mother's.
This is my mother's skirt? Why? Why do you have my mother's skirt?
Rob asks, sounding appalled. Just look at it, will you?
Look at what?
The blood, dang it. It's stained with blood.
Rob looks at the skirt, then at Crystal. He rubs his forehead.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You hid my mother's skirt? Who does that?
That's not the point, Rob. Look at the blood.
That's not blood.
Yes, it is. Look at it.
He shakes his head.
It could be so many things, Crystal. Besides, what is it exactly you think about my mother?
What do you mean?
You think she's trying to kill us or something? That she is some serial killer on the loose? My 79-year-old mother who can barely walk without her cane? My own mother?
Crystal shrugs.
Well,
she considers not adding more, but does it anyway.
She did try and come into our bedroom at night. Twice.
Rob rolls his eyes. He walks to the door, skirt in his hand.
You're unbelievable. Now I am going to wash this and give it back to my dear old mother, and then we're all going to have a nice day sightseeing, you hear me?
Crystal bites her lip, then nods. Chapter 11. The next 3 days pass completely eventless. Crystal keeps to herself for the most part, trying not to get caught up in anything, just counting the days and hours till Rob's mother will depart. They don't talk about that night anymore, not even when alone. She wants to. She is still upset that he doesn't believe her, but he gives her a harsh look every time she brings it up. It's obvious to her that he doesn't want to hear any more about it. He has decided it wasn't his mother who was outside that window trying to get in, and there is nothing she can say to convince him otherwise. That following Tuesday, Rob comes home early to work from his office when there is a knock on the door. Crystal rushes to open it.
Cooper's? Again?
They look sad, both of them.
What's going on?
Rob comes out of his office, empty coffee cup in his hand.
Steve, Marcia? To what do we owe the pleasure?
Fifi is missing, Steve says. Marcia concurs with a whimper, then shows us a flyer with a small gray poodle's picture on it. Crystal is more of a cat person and has 2 cats herself that she brought with her when moving in. She looks at the picture and remembers how sweet little Fifi chased Lucky and Strike till they ran across A1A in the middle of busy traffic just after she moved in. Lucky had been not so lucky one. Strike was still with them and stayed far away from Fifi.
What do you mean she's missing?
Rob asks and takes the flyer. They look at each other, then back at Rob and Crystal. She's been gone since Thursday night, Steve says.
We went out of town to visit Steve's son in Orlando, stayed there for the night. You know how he's allergic to dogs, so naturally we left Fifi home alone all night. And when we came back the next morning, she wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere,
Marcia says, tearing up.
She's not used to being alone,
Rob says.
Maybe she just ran out and tried to find you?
Well, that's what we thought too, Steve says.
Steve forgot to close the back door, the one leading to the yard and the beach,
Marcia says, visibly blaming her husband.
I closed it,
Steve says, grumbling.
Well, it was open when we got home, wasn't it?
Marcia says.
Wide open. And don't tell me it could have been the wind, because I am not buying that.
Anyway, Steve says, we thought she might come back home on her own, but now that several days have passed, we fear something might have happened to her. That's why we're walking from door to door to ask if anyone has seen her. Maybe she's running around down on the beach somewhere?
Rob nods.
That sounds possible.
We don't want to think.
Marcia stops herself.
You know, with the busy road and all.
It's a dangerous road, Crystal says. Pets could easily get killed if they tried to cross, being chased or not.
Crystal?
Rob says. Marcia and Steve look at her, appalled. Marcia completely pale. Crystal shrugs. I'm just saying.
We will keep an eye out,
Rob says and takes the flyer.
Don't you worry. I am sure Fifi will come home soon.
Thank you, Rob,
Marcia says and shakes his hand, not giving Crystal as much as a glance.
You're such a wonderful neighbor.
Say hello to your sweet mother from us,
Steve says as they turn around to leave. Rob waves.
Will do. Will do.
Chapter 12.
I can't believe Fifi is gone,
Rob says at night when they're lying in their bed.
That dog never leaves the house.
Crystal looks up from her book. Strike is lying at the foot of the bed, purring. Crystal pulls him closer and pets him. I know, she says.
I think we should keep Strike inside for a few days,
Rob says. You think something bad happened to Fifi? Crystal asks. He sighs.
Well, it can't hurt to be careful, can it? I mean, till we know more. There has been an occasional bobcat or two spotted around here on the beach. Someone even claims to have seen a black panther once, but I don't know if that's true. It doesn't really matter. If there is an animal out there eating pets, then maybe we should keep Strike inside. Just in case, you know?
Crystal nods and pulls her cat closer. Of course. I can't stand the thought that something is out there at night, she says and nods toward the window. Their curtains are very thin, and you can see through them in the darkness. She has been complaining about that ever since she moved in, and Rob has promised to fix it. But so far, nothing has happened. You think that maybe that homeless person is out there? She asks. You think that maybe he took Fifi? Rob sighs.
I don't want to think about it, but yes, the thought has crossed my mind.
Mine too. Their eyes meet. Rob shakes his head.
You think my mother hurt Fifi, don't you?
He asks, sounding appalled.
No!
Yes, you do. You think that was the blood on her skirt.
I would never.
Don't start, Crystal. You're unbelievable, do you know that?
You have told me so before, yes. She mumbles and returns to her book, hoping he will let it go now. But of course, he won't.
I can't believe you,
he says. She sighs. So you say.
How can you think that about that sweet old lady? My mother? My own mother? How?
He asks, gesturing wildly and spitting while he talks. Okay, you're right, she says. I saw her the other night. I am certain it was her, and if it was her that night, then it was probably her the other night too. And also her who tried to get into Steve and Marcia's house. And you saw the blood. I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but I do believe it's elementary, dear Rob. He growls and stares at her in anger.
Ugh! I can't look at you right now. I simply can't.
He gets out of bed and walks back and forth.
She's my mother, Crystal. She gave birth to me.
I know that, Rob, and I understand it must be hard for you to realize this about her. But you have to. She's old, senile maybe. Could it be that she doesn't know what she's doing?
Is it the language?
What?
Is it because you don't understand her language?
What? No!
He snaps his fingers.
You're a racist. You don't like immigrants. You're a Trump supporter, aren't you? Did you vote for Trump? Did you? 'Cause for your information, I am an immigrant too. That's me. I have only been an American citizen for the past 10 years. Hashtag immigrant, hashtag no ban, no wall.
What on earth does that have to do with...
But Rob is not listening anymore. If this had been a cartoon, there would have been steam coming out of his ears by now. At one point, Crystal is certain there actually is.
I knew it! I just knew it!
He yells, then rushes to the door, his pillow tugged under his arm.
Where are you going?
She asks. He stops, his cheeks red with furor.
The guest room. I am sleeping with my mother tonight.
Chapter 13. The next morning, Rob isn't speaking to her. Not one single word. She makes him his coffee and they sit in quiet while he eats his yogurt and reads the news on his iPad. She doesn't know what to say to him. She feels awful.
"Listen, Rob," she finally says. "I am sorry if I in any way have implied that I thought your mother would hurt Fifi or anyone else. I didn't mean to. I just thought she was sleepwalking, that's all. Maybe she got hurt and that was how she got that blood in her skirt. Or maybe you're right and it isn't even blood. It could be paint."
Rob puts down his iPad and looks at her. He nods and lets out a deep exhale.
Apology accepted.
She smiles while looking at her fingers. She has never seen Rob get so angry before, like he did the night before, and it scares her. Strike jumps into her lap and she pets him. He purrs. "So, are you going to be late today?" He nods and finishes his coffee.
I have a late meeting. Should be home by 7, though.
She exhales. She is nervous about spending all day with his mother. How much has he told her about their fight? He leans over and kisses her cheek, briefcase in his hand.
You two try and have a good time together, won't you? Please, just try, for my sake. I really want you to get along. If you got to know one another, I know you would love each other. I just know you would.
Crystal nods.
"I'll try. I just can't seem to let go of... She cut my picture out, Rob. It's hard to believe she wants me in your life."
He sniffles.
I know. I still don't know why she would do such a thing. It's not very like her, but then again, she is getting old, and old people do strange things sometimes. She has grown a lot older than I expected over the past couple of years since I was last home to visit. She keeps asking me the same questions over and over again. I guess it's just hard to realize that your mother is old, you know? She was always so smart and knew everything, and now it's like she's different. Yet it's still her. Every now and then, I see her and hear the old her, but she has definitely changed. Anyway, as I said, I told her to behave and she promised to do so. I just need you to give her the benefit of the doubt and not suspect her of doing crazy things like stealing the neighbor's dog, all right?
Crystal nods, smiling. "Sure thing." He kisses her again.
All right, see you tonight for dinner.
"You want to order in from Cocoa Beach Thai and sushi, or are you in the mood for Italian?"
He stops, then looks at her.
You're not cooking?
"No, should I be cooking?"
Well, I kind of think my mom expects you to. She's old-fashioned that way, you know?
"But I'm so bad at cooking, Rob. I hate it."
He tilts his head and looks at her with begging eyes.
Please, for me. She'll be really proud of you, especially if you make something with potatoes. She loves potatoes. Maybe potato soup.
That sounds so gross, Rob. I don't like potatoes, and neither do you.
Well, maybe I do like them. Lisa made a lot of potatoes.
Crystal stares at him, eyes wide. Lisa? You used to hate talking about her and hate her cooking even more. You said so constantly when we first met. Now she's all of a sudden the woman I am measured up against? Crystal doesn't want to argue anymore. Instead, she sighs and says, "All right, I'll make potato soup, but you better take me out to eat as soon as your mother leaves, you hear me? Somewhere expensive." He smiles, leans over, and kisses her again, then heads out of the kitchen. She yells, "I love you!" after him and gets a
"Same"
in return. Chapter 14. She's the devil. She's the devil herself, in person. Crystal can't stop thinking the thought as she watches her future mother-in-law eat cereal, slurping and smacking her lips. What if she actually decides to move here? Will she be coming over every day and eating with us? The thought is appalling to Crystal. It's more than that. It's horrifying. The old woman smiles after every bite, showing off her pointy corner teeth. She has that look in her black, narrow eyes, the look that brings terror to every cell in Crystal's body. Crystal keeps picturing her outside their window, looking in. Strike comes up to Rob's mother and rubs himself against her leg. Crystal smiles when she sees him. He's such a gentle cat. very affectionate. Everyone loves Strike. Even people that don't like cats very much usually take to him. Crystal wonders if Rob's mother likes cats. The old woman responds by pushing him away with her hand. Strike then returns, rubbing himself against her leg again, and she pushes him away a little harder this time. Crystal is about to stop him, but is too late. Strike returns yet again, and this time her future mother-in-law kicks the cat away and sends him flying across the tiles while making the strangest sound coming from her throat. Did she just hiss at my cat? Terrified, Crystal gets up, grabs Strike, and carries him to her bedroom, where she closes the door, whispering, "I'm so sorry, baby. Stay in here so she won't hurt you." When she returns to the kitchen, Rob's mother is gone. She spots her out on the porch, sitting on a chair. Crystal considers yelling at her for kicking her cat, but then decides to let it go, for Rob's sake. She relaxes her shoulders and returns to her chores. She brings in the wash, folds the towels, and makes the bed. She finds a recipe for potato soup and pulls out a bag of potatoes from the pantry, when she suddenly hears a strange sound coming from outside and hurries out onto the porch. She finds Rob's mother standing by the fence at the end of the yard, looking up at a tree where 2 pelicans are sitting. What is she doing? Rob's mother then grabs a rock from the ground and throws it. A pelican is hit on its back and takes off. Is she throwing rocks at the pelicans? Who does that? Rob's mother takes another rock and hits the second pelican, then squeals in excitement and does a little happy dance while clapping her hands. She is moving around and wiggling from side to side. She's not immobile at all. She's dancing. She's dancing around, and without using her cane. Crystal searches for her phone, pulls it out from her pocket, and turns on the video. She records Rob's mother's dancing while grinning from ear to ear. She presses stop, then puts it back in her pocket, mumbling under her breath, "Gotcha." As if she heard her, Rob's mother turns around, grabs her cane in a hurry, and then waves while leaning on it. Crystal waves back, the other hand on her warm phone in the pocket of her jeans. Explain yourself out of this, old lady. Explain yourself out of this. Chapter 15. She makes the potato soup, and it tastes horrible. At least Crystal thinks it does. Rob's mother seems to like it, and so does Rob. They're both eating it with moans and groans of satisfaction. The noises, the gobbling and slurping, make Crystal's skin crawl, and she has to restrain herself to not scream. She has watched the footage of Rob's mother dancing over and over this entire afternoon, wondering how best to serve it to Rob. So far, she has decided to keep it to herself until she needs it. She doesn't want to get into another argument with him. Not right now when they're doing so well. At bedtime, they make love. Make-up sex is always the greatest, and Crystal enjoys being close to him again, and especially having him back in their bed. She doesn't like the thought of him having slept in his mother's bed last night. It makes her uncomfortable. Why didn't he take the couch? He kisses her, then rolls to his own side and grabs his iPad with a satisfied groan.
"Life is good, isn't it?"
he says. Crystal looks at him, then nods. It sure is. She turns off the light and closes her eyes. Good night.
Good night.
The alarm clock says 3 a.m. when Crystal wakes up. And then it happens again. She starts to scream. Rob sits up.
What? What's going on?
There is someone out there.
Crystal points at the door.
Someone tried to open the door again.
Rob jumps out of the bed, rushes to the window, and pulls the curtains.
I've had it with this.
The door was shaking loudly,
Crystal says.
Then there was a figure outside running past the window when I started to scream.
Rob looks at her.
And you're sure it wasn't just a very vivid dream?
Positive.
Rob sighs, then picks up his phone.
That's it. I've had enough of this. I need to put an end to it.
What are you doing?
Crystal asks, her voice shaking.
I am calling the police. They need to find whoever it is and put him away. Can't keep scaring decent people. Yes, hello, Cocoa Beach Police?
A patrol unit arrives about 10 minutes later, and 2 officers walk around the house, using flashlights to search the yard with the one dog the department has. When they return, the one with the dog is shaking his head. Whoever it was is long gone. You say it happened before?
It's the 3rd time, officer,
Rob says.
Our neighbors experienced it too,
Crystal says.
and now their dog is gone.
The officer shakes his head. Bastards.
It's the worst,
The other officer says.
When it comes to animals, we show no mercy. I can't stand it when animals are hurt. Well, we don't know if Fifi was hurt or not,
Rob says.
She's just missing.
The officer holding the dog looks at him. Just missing? There is no such thing as just missing. Losing a pet is the worst.
Yes, of course,
He says.
You did the right thing calling us.
The other officer says.
A possible intruder is a serious thing. Never know what bastard is trying to get in. Are you armed? I have a gun,
Rob says.
in my nightstand.
The officer nods.
Good. It's what we always say. Only one to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Ain't it right, Officer Hanson?
Hanson nods. Sure is what we say. Sure is. Chapter 16. When the officers leave, Rob walks around the house, checking all the doors to make sure they're locked before he returns to bed. They lie still in the middle of the night, waiting for sleep to catch up with them. But it doesn't happen. Crystal can hear him snort in the darkness and turns on the light. What's the matter? The look in his dark eyes when he stares at her gives her a knot in her stomach. Uh-oh.
You still think it's her, don't you?
She sits up.
What? Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
Answer me. You still think my mother is running around at night, pulling the doors, looking in through the window, don't you?
I don't know what to think. I just know that someone is.
He shakes his head, biting his lip.
I ain't buying it, Crystal.
Well, I ain't selling it, she says. I'm not trying to lie here. I'm not trying to do anything except sleep.
No. I need to know this. All this about telling the officers about Fifi going missing and all that. You wanted to tell them about the skirt, didn't you? You wanted to tell them it was her, am I right?
No, I did no such thing. He leans forward.
Look me in the eyes and tell me you don't think my mother was out there tonight. Look me in the eyes when you say it.
I don't...
Crystal stops with an exhale.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Aha!
Listen, Rob, I didn't want to tell you this earlier, but something happened today. Several things, actually. Crystal grabs her phone from the nightstand and holds it between her hands. She finds the video and shows it to him. See for yourself. He watches the video, then looks up at her. I'm sorry, she says. I hate to be the one telling you this.
Telling me what?
Crystal's eyes grow wide.
Telling you what? Did you not see the video? She's dancing, Rob. Dancing without her cane. She's not disabled. She has been lying to you all along.
What are you talking about?
She's dancing, Rob. Frickin' dancing.
That's part of her training. She got a new knee, remember? The doctor told her to dance as soon as she was able to. She has to stay active to strengthen her knee. This is good news, Crystal. It means she's getting better. It means she has no pain. Look at her go at it. I can't believe it. It's amazing.
But she kicked Strike.
She what?
And she threw rocks at birds, at the pelicans in the yard.
Rob shrugs.
I am sorry about Strike. My mother never was very fond of cats, and I don't know about the birds, but that doesn't mean she's the one who took Fifi or that she's the one who was outside our window tonight. You need to let this go. I am beginning to think you're trying to turn me against my own mother. And I don't like that.
Crystal sighs, defeated, and slumps back on her pillow. She kicked Strike and she hissed. She mumbles, then turns off the light and closes her eyes. Chapter 17. The next day, Rob works from home. Crystal is sick of arguing with him and keeps her distance. It's not until lunch that they actually talk again. She has made sandwiches that they eat on the porch. Rob and his mother speak in Romanian and laugh. Crystal stares into the yard and the beach, once again looking forward to the day his mother leaves.
What's going on down there?
Rob suddenly says and points towards the end of the yard. Crystal looks. She spots a flock of big black birds circling the area. Some are standing in the grass, picking at the ground. Others are fighting in the air. Is there some sort of food down there? Crystal asks. Maybe someone dropped a bag of chips and they're fighting over it. It happens.
No, this is different,
he says.
These aren't your usual seagulls. These are vultures. They're eating something.
Crystal gasps and drops her sandwich. Rob's mother doesn't seem to understand what's going on. She's still smiling and eating, bobbing her head like a darn chicken.
I'm going down there,
Rob says and gets up. I'll go with you, Crystal says and follows him, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. They reach the end of the yard and Rob scares away the birds. They protest loudly before they finally remove themselves, even though they don't go far. They stay close enough to be ready to return as soon as they are gone. Crystal gasps when she sees what is lying there in the dirt, clasping her mouth with a small whimper.
Oh, my dear God!
Rob sighs and kneels next to the small cadaver. You can barely recognize the poodle since most of its hair is gone.
Fifi,
he says.
Oh no, poor Fifi.
He grabs the small dog, or what is left of it, between his hands and lifts it up. Behind him, all the birds are cawing hungrily. Look, Rob, Crystal says. Rob turns and looks. On the ground, in the hole where Fifi was, is a small scarf. Rob picks it up. It's dirty. Then he gasps. What? What is it, Rob? Talk to me.
It's my mother's. This is my mother's scarf.
He can barely get the words across his lips.
In the grave where Fifi was buried.
Crystal clasps her mouth once again.
Oh my God. Rob, you don't think... Do you?
How can I not? I mean, you told me, didn't you? I can't believe she would...
I'm sorry, Rob. I am so sorry. I didn't want to be right. I didn't want to be right about her.
No, I am the one who is sorry. I never believed you. You told me about the blood on her clothes, about her being outside her window, about her kicking Strike, and I refused to listen. I am so sorry, Crystal. Can I ever make it up to you? Name anything and I'll give it to you. I can't believe I put you through this nightmare. I didn't believe you, and now... this? I guess my mom simply lost it somehow.
So, what will you do?
Crystal asks.
If the police ever find out, well... You heard them last night. They show no mercy when it comes to animal abusers. We can't have them find out, and no one can tell Steve and Marcia.
So, what are you saying, Rob?
He looks into Crystal's eyes.
She needs to go. I am sending her home. Can't have her here, not after this. She's going home.
Chapter 18. They find her in her room, sitting on the bed, Strike in her lap. She is smiling widely as they enter and speaks to her son in Romanian. Crystal gasps when she sees how the old woman's hands are cupped around Strike's neck. She's got Strike, she whispers to Rob.
Mama?
Rob says and approaches her slowly, reaching out a hand to calm her down in case she should get agitated. Don't let her hurt Strike, Crystal whimpers.
Please don't let her hurt him.
Rob speaks to her in Romanian, then repeats it in English.
Put down the cat, Mommy. Put down the cat.
Crystal stares at Strike, then up at Rob's mother's face, then back at the cat, and the hand tightly wrapped around the cat's neck. Rob's mother is responding in Romanian, gesticulating wildly with the other hand.
"One snap and he's gone,"
she whispers to Rob.
"Don't upset her."
I'm trying my best here, but she keeps asking me why she can't pet the cat. What do I tell her?
Rob says.
"Tell her it's sick and needs to see a vet."
All right.
Rob then speaks in Romanian. Rob's mother squeals and lets go of the cat. Strike jumps down to the floor.
Now, step away from the cat, Mom,
he says, then repeats it in Romanian. Crystal calls for Strike to come, then grabs him in her arms and storms outside the room. The old woman doesn't go without putting up a fight. Rob asks her to pack up her things, and that's when things turn ugly. Crystal is standing outside the door listening, as Rob yells at her and tells her in Romanian that she has to go. At least that's what Crystal thinks he is saying, judging from the sound of his voice. Soon, the door opens and a suitcase comes flying out. Rob is yelling loudly now while his mother speaks in a pleading voice. Next thing, Rob comes out, dragging his mother by the arm, his mother trying with every muscle in her body to stop him. It's quite the spectacle. Crystal can tell she is trying to convince her son she didn't do it, that she didn't kill the neighbor's dog. Rob soon gets tired of her resisting and picks her up. He carries her to the front door before he sets her down. Crystal follows, carrying the suitcase that she places in the trunk of his black Cadillac. Crystal watches as Rob drags his mother to the car, the old woman yelling and screaming, probably cursing in Romanian. Crystal can't help feeling very relieved to get her out of the house. Rob is called and told his brother about what happened in detail, and they have agreed the old woman must have gone senile and not be aware of her actions. The brother then promised to make sure she's sent to a retirement home as soon as she sets her feet on Romanian ground. There, they'll be able to keep an eye on her day, and especially at night. No matter what happens, she'll never come back to Florida, and she certainly won't move here. Crystal can't say she's all too sad about that. Strike comes up to Crystal and rubs himself against her leg. Crystal picks him up and holds him tightly in her arms, while Rob's mother screams and yells at her. She's holding a clenched fist into the air, her black eyes flashing at her. Then suddenly says in plain English, "The bitch is lying. Do not marry her, Rob. Do not marry her. Do not marry the bitch." She is pronouncing it Mara. Crystal feels a pinch in her heart. It hurts being called that by your future mother-in-law. Of course it does, even though she is crazy and possibly senile. But then again, she realizes she doesn't have to care. Chances are she'll never see the woman again. Crystal waves at the car and holds Strike close, petting him gently on the back. Strike purrs while Rob closes the door and takes off, his mother screaming and yelling from inside the car, knocking on the window, sending curses her way. Crystal lifts a hand and waves, smiling endearingly. "Bye-bye, Mommy, dearest." Chapter 19. Crystal quickly finds a way for Rob to make it up to her. It's not a small request, she knows that much, but she feels like she deserves it after all she has been put through. So that night, after Rob gets back from the airport, his mother safely on a plane across the Atlantic, Crystal leans over, kisses him gently, then whispers, "Elope with me."
What?
She looks into his eyes, her eyes sparkling with intensity and expectation. "You can make it up to me by eloping with me."
You mean dropping the big and expensive wedding?
Rob says, sounding intrigued. "Yes," she moans. "I want to marry you right now. Let's go." So they do. A week later, they travel to Hawaii and get married on the beach in a beautiful, yet simple ceremony. It's also very perfect. And, best of all, there are no annoying mother-in-laws to ruin everything. They stay on the island for the entire week, honeymooning, enjoying each other to the fullest. Crystal can't stop telling him just how happy she is. When they come home, life gets back to normal. Rob works a load of overtime to make up for the entire week he was gone, while Crystal returns to her everyday chores. Everything is good, and neither of them can complain. Rob talks to his brother regularly and is relieved to know that his mother is settled in at the retirement home, about an hour's drive outside of Bucharest. Even though she constantly fights his brothers on the decision, and has run away 3 times the first week. He is certain it is the right decision, even though it fills him with a great deal of guilt. It's only natural. About 2 weeks after returning from their honeymoon, Rob and Crystal make love before bedtime as usual, and he gets up to go to the bathroom. Crystal stays in bed, reading her book.
"Honey?"
he says from the bathroom. He walks out and stands next to the bed. Crystal is in the middle of a very interesting passage in her book and doesn't look up. She doesn't really listen either.
"I have a rash," he says. "I need some of that lotion of yours. You know, the good stuff."
Yeah, it's in the drawer." Rob goes to the dresser and pulls out the top drawer, finds the lotion, and starts to put it on. When he puts the lotion back, he sees something and pulls it out.
"Honey?" "What's this?"
Frantically, Rob picks up one small round picture after another, all with Crystal's face on them. "What's that, honey?" she asks.
These clip-outs, are they from... They're the ones from the pictures, aren't they? From the pictures in the living room? The ones you said my mother... And why is my life insurance policy in your drawer?
Rob hears the sound of a gun being cocked and turns to look straight into the barrel of the gun he usually keeps in the nightstand. He drops the cutout pictures to the floor.
"Crystal? Honey? What's..."
Chapter 20.
"Crystal? What are you doing?"
Rob speaks with a shivering voice. "I wanted to wait a couple more weeks," Crystal says. "Give us time to fully enjoy being married for a little longer, but why not do this now?"
I don't understand. You cut your own face from those pictures?"
he says.
"Why? To turn me against my own mother? Why would you want me to turn against my mother?"
"I had to get her out of here. I had to stop her from moving here. She was in my way. Besides, I was afraid she might tell you not to marry me. I couldn't very well have that happen, now could I?"
So you made it look like my mother... What about the blood on the skirt?"
She shrugs. "Wasn't really blood. Smelled more like paint, if you ask me. Who knows where she could have gotten it on her clothes? Maybe she leaned against a newly painted wall. Does it matter?"
"What about the dog? What about Fifi? Was that your work too?"
Rob gasps.
"You killed Fifi?"
"Well, I hit her with my car. It wasn't exactly on purpose. The dog had run away and was in the street, and I didn't slow down when I saw it. Let's keep it at that. I used one of your mother's scarves to bury it in the yard."
But the rattling of the door at night? The person trying to get into our bedroom? To Stephen Marsh's?"
I don't know who tried to enter the Cooper's house at night, but it gave me the idea, Crystal says. If I made it look like your mother was senile and wandering off at night, then maybe you'd send her back to her retirement home. I can't have her moving here. Plus, I needed you to call the police and tell them someone was trying to break in. There never was anyone. I just told you there was, and you believed me every time.
Why? Crystal, why?
You really haven't figured that part out yet, have you? I gotta tell you, you really shouldn't trust people as easily as you do.
The life insurance,
He says.
You can't be serious.
Oh, but I am, she says, and presses the gun against the skin of his forehead.
He is sweating. You won't get away with it.
I beg to differ, she says. See, you reported it to the police, remember? It's in their files that someone tried to get into our house several times recently, even into the neighbor's house. So what they'll learn once they arrive is that tonight, he actually did. The intruder came in, and when you jumped out of bed to protect your wife, he shot you, then ran out and disappeared. The police will look for him all night, searching the beach, finding nothing, not even the gun that I disposed of. And you'll be named a hero, while I'll be the poor grieving widow with $10 million in my bank account and this lovely beach house to mourn in. Oh, and yeah, let's not forget the bracelet, the gorgeous diamond bracelet. Rob stares at her in disbelief.
But, so, it was all just a lie? You made me blame my own mother? And you killed Fifi?
Guess so.
You're a murderer.
Now, Rob, I wouldn't say that, since I do believe you were supposed to kill a human being in order to be called an actual murderer. Crystal smiles, then pulls the trigger. Rob's body falls to the ground with a thud. Strike the cat hisses and runs away. Crystal bends over and looks at her husband. But I guess now I am. The end. This has been Mommy Dearest, written by Willow Rose. Narrated by Kendra Lee Oberhauser for Hot Ghost Productions. Copyright 2018 by Willow Rose. Production copyright by Willow Rose.